Doncs acabem el cicle de preguntes. Una pregunta de la taula número 10.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Emilio Centeno. Ante todo, decirle que yo no le veo pesimista, le veo realista. Entonces, mi pregunta era referente a aquí en nuestro país, en España. Era para ver si estaba al corriente de un par de datos y a ver su opinión. En España hay una población activa de cerca de 18 millones de personas que están soportando la carga de pues, unos 2,5 millones de funcionarios entre 4 administraciones distintas, administración central, comunidad autónoma, regional, o sea, provincial y municipal, y unos cerca de 7 millones de jubilados. Entonces, aparte de los 4,5 millones de parados, ¿usted cree que estos 17,5 millones de personas activas que estamos, podremos soportar a un corto o medio plazo estos 12 millones de, ¿usted me entiende?, de pasivos? Para saber su opinión a corto plazo, o si la solución sería combinar algún tipo de jubilación no solamente del Estado, sino que fuera privada y del Estado, o adelgazar un poco la administración pública, o no sé. De todas formas, gracias.
Okay. Yeah. The problem in Spain is very similar to that facing many of the other advanced industrial countries. And it's one of the problems I talk about in my book, what we call the demographic, the aging of the population, where the result of that is the ratio of dependency is increasing. The one good part of that is, of course, that when the population growth slows down, there are fewer children you have to support. So there are more old people, but fewer people under the 18. Maybe not a good solution, but it's still part of the equation. This is related to a broader issue that I think we need to be attentive to, and I mentioned before, which is that while we were fighting the crisis, our longer run problems didn't go away. In the United States, we have a whole list of problems: environmental problems, energy problem, healthcare problem, education problem, and the demographic problem. Unfortunately, though, the resources that we have diminished because we spend so much money bailing out the banks and keeping the economy going. So that says that we have to think much more intelligently going forward. How do we deal with this demographic problem? And now let me put aside the politics and just say, because these are very politically contentious, but from an economic point of view, it seems to me that there are a couple parts of the solution. One part is that one of the reasons that we have this demographic problem is that our health is increasing, and that means that we can work longer. Now, in the United States, the way we've responded in part is that we've eliminated forced retirement. You cannot, except for a very small number of people, you cannot, there's no retirement age anymore. And more generally, we ought to increase the norm of the age of retirement. And there are studies that show that people want to stay working. If we can create enough jobs, and that's why the macroeconomic, making sure the economy is functioning is imperative. But if we can create enough jobs, then keeping people in the labor force to work as long as they're healthy is actually good for them and good for the economy. The second thing that some countries have done, and I think it's very important, is to think about how we increase labor force participation. And one area in which there has been one important part of labor force participation is gender. And so, for instance, Sweden and the Scandinavian countries spend about 1% of their GDP in programs to facilitate equal participation in the labor force. So maternity and paternity leave, child care support. So a whole variety of programs and saying, yes, it's costly, but the benefit from having wider participation in the labor force is worth more than the cost that these programs entail. And finally, we have to increase the productivity of those in the labor force. We have to make sure that everybody who is working as most productive as they can, and that's important to have training, make sure that they can move from where they're to where they are most productive. So a whole set of labor market reforms that make sure that everybody is used in the most productive way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stiglitz, for this conference.
Thank you.
Un aplaudiment, no? Doncs fins aquí aquest quart acte del CornellàCreació-Fòrum. Suposo que ja ha estat una conferència prou aprofitosa. L'Ajuntament de Cornellà un cop més vol agrair la col·laboració de les empreses patrocinadores que són Akbar, la Caixa, CGN i Ecovert, Llobregat Centre, Asisa, World Trade Center, Mecalux, Elecnor, Gràfica Rei, Novotel, gràcies també a Comerç de Cornellà, CityLab, Pimec i el Parc Esportiu Llobregat. Gràcies també al periòdico i a l'Economista, que en la seva tasca de comunicació, un cop més, ens han donat el seu recolzament. I també gràcies a l'Ogolate, que també ens han endolçat aquest moment. I fins aquí aquest quart acte del CornellàCreació-Fòrum. Us convidem també a tornar el proper 14 de maig a la conferència d'Isabel Aguilera, una de les executives més importants del món, expresidenta del General Electric Espanya i Portugal i, com a dona ho havia de dir, l'única dona que participa per cert en aquest cicle de conferències del CornellàCreació-Fòrum. Fins aleshores, que acabem de passar molt bona tarda i un cop més, gràcies per la seva atenció.